Alright, here's something to think about. You're in the city hall and you want to address something. They do public comments and you want to sit there and you say to yourself, I have a comment to attend publicly to say. They ask you your first and last name and the city you're from. What if you say you don't want it because it's your First Amendment right? And they tell you're breaking decorum. Well, this is exactly what happened just 5 days ago at a city hall meeting in Corpus Christi. We'll let the video speak for itself. Take a look.
Well, let's see how far we get today. It's 10 seconds usually, right?
You
Good.
have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. So there was a citizen that came up here. They said that there was...
The speaker has failed to identify himself in accordance with the rules of decorum.
That is hindering the public meeting. Will you please take care of him?
Ms. Werther, would you please ask for, like
No.
you do with everyone else?
Sure, I got it. I'll introduce myself. I identify as we the people.
Okay,
Can
go
I continue?
ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Mayor, the speaker is required by the rules of decorum to state his name and city.
I identify as we the people, and my city is America. Can you restart my timer now since this guy keeps interrupting the official meeting? And y'all please stop my clock. I haven't even got to talk yet. And y'all restart
Rebecca.
that like to speak. I went with your legal rules. That's all.
Go ahead.
What you wanted.
I can't hear you.
The microphone is off, Mayor.
You can't silence somebody's microphone. You did on a city person. So please let me start over and have my speech. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. So may I talk?
Mayor, the rules of decorum require that the speaker identify his name and his city.
Okay. America, Texas, city, none of your business. Fine. Aransas passed. There you go.
Okay.
And we start over.
Go ahead.
Mayor, the rules of decorum require that the speaker identify his name.
I identify my name. We the people. Would you like to see my ID? Ooh,
All right.
see that? That's right. Can I speak now?
Speak, Mr. Followell.
I would like my time back. Y'all took it all away from me because y'all were talking.
Go ahead.
No, I don't want. I want my time back.
Okay, just let's start.
Start my time, and I will.
Mr. Followell,
You
please
keep
start.
taking my time. Please do what's right and let me talk. Can I have my time? Can I have my time since she's looking at you the whole time? Do I get 3 minutes, or are you going to break my 3 minutes? I will take your 50 seconds, and I guess I get 2 minutes after that? Fine. Okay, you had a citizen come out here and said you said fraud. These guys aren't going to do anything, of course. But before my speech is over, these guys are going to surround me and illegally throw me out of this building. Okay. I come up here each time to talk about decorum. That's the line we use when you don't want an answer. Example, when y'all laugh and she's okay with it, it's okay. When the citizens clap against her, that's illegal. Decorum is not a right, it's not even a law. The Constitution, First Amendment, is the law of the land, and you know that. One protects feelings, the other protects truth. And truth is rarely polite. Decorum is not the First Amendment. The First Amendment doesn't exist to protect polite speech. It exists to protect uncomfortable speech. Speech that calls out your corruption. Do I get my other 2 minutes?
Thank you, Mr. Followell.
You're only giving me 1 minute.
Mr. Followell, thank you.
Oh, you're a...
Thank you. Please leave. You're done. No, you're done. I need you to leave decorum.
Come here, buddy. What did I tell y'all?
Yeah. Ridiculous.
The issue is, none of these men in here will
All right.
come with me.
You're out of order, sir. Please leave.
Under threat of arrest. Thank you, sir. Shit.
Marilena Garza. Miss Garza.
I want men. If men would stay with me, this shit wouldn't happen. You're not even a man.
Okay, where do we even begin to speak up here? You know, I understand where everybody's coming from. You know, everybody wants to speak whatever's on their plate. You have to identify yourselves. Even if you don't, just say your first and last name, the city where you're from, and then you can say whatever the hell you want. It's not that hard. The city, your first, your last name, and the city where you're from, they can say whatever you want. I mean, do you even realize how tough it is? I mean, I know somebody who works in the city, Kayla Paxson. I know Kayla Paxson works for the city. She's District 4. She's a very great friend of mine. And I'll be damned if someone says, I want to identify myself. I'll be damned if someone will say that. But the thing is, decorum. There is a difference between free speech and decorum. That is, free speech does not mean you can say anything. You cannot scream fire in a crowded theater. People could be trembling, you'd be liable. If you tell rioters, beat that guy up, and they do, then you're in trouble. It doesn't mean free speech does not mean we can say anything. I mean, yes, it's all about the Constitution, but state laws are not covered by the Constitution, neither are city ordinances. Not covered by the Constitution. If you're going to quote the Constitution, you need to know what you're talking about. This is the whole bottom line. And here's the question that, and this is something that's been brought up. We've kind of seen it happen. This is the question. What is the word decorum, and what does it stand on free speech? Adam Bean's going to have the answer for you when we come back. Still ahead, Sam Donaldson on the military has a story about the military and same sexes in the military. So we'll let Sam explain. Stay with us. Give me a break in depth tonight. Decorum. It's a thing that people use. It's a thing that city leaders and public council use as a word of behavior. According to Google, according to the definition of decorum, it refers to behavior, speech, and dress that confirm the standards of propriety, good taste, and politeness. It signifies etiquette, dignity, and respect, playing a crucial role in maintaining social order and harmony. It also refers to the suitability of a style or art, literature, and subject. Behavior norms, contextual stability, suitability, etymology. And the common usage for examples is just maintain decorum, reach decorum, and rhetoric. It's another word for behavior in keeping with good taste and property. That's the whole definition of decorum. Now, what does it mean for what does it mean in a meeting? To the standard of polite, orderly, and respectful behavior, speech, conduct appropriate for a formal setting, and ensures that productivity maintains the professional environment and maintains the following rules, like staying on topic, respecting the chair, and avoiding disruptive and disrespectful behavior. The key means in this is just respectful conduct, orderly pass, appropriate behavior, professionalism, and handling breaches. Let's break this down one by one. First, respectful conduct. Treating all participants with courtesy, avoiding interruptions, and not using aggressive, rude, or insulting language. Orderly process. Waiting to be recognized by the chair before speaking. Adhering to the agenda and participating in an orderly manner. Appropriate behavior. Avoiding outbursts like clapping, booing, or cheering, particularly in public council meetings. Professionalism. Adhering to the scheduled times for meetings and upholding the defined appearance or demeanor. Handling breaches. Failing to maintain decorum can result in warnings, being asked to leave, or being removed from the meeting. That's what the whole decorum in meetings means. And if you've been to the city council meetings in Corpus Christi, you've seen these outbursts happening during the public comments in the city council meetings. Tonight you're going to be hearing from a First Amendment expert who weighs in on the subject, and he'll give you his 2 cents about all these outbursts, and he'll explain some common sense. Here's Adam Bean.
Please leave. I'm sorry, Miss Belcher. What, that's breaking decorum.
It's becoming a familiar sight in council chambers. Attendees escorted out for breaking the city's rules of decorum.
Please stop. Please. You're breaking decorum, ma'am.
Amy Sanders is a First Amendment scholar and tenured professor at Penn State University, and a former professor at UT Austin, who spent 6 years studying Texas government and open meetings laws. She says the city does have the right to set some ground rules.
The government entities are free to make reasonable rules. That could include something like how long a person can speak.
But several of Corpus Christi's current rules may cross a line. Take the requirement that speakers identify themselves before addressing the council.
There's absolutely nothing in the Texas Government Code that says that a person should be required to identify themselves before they speak on a matter.
Sanders says forcing speakers to state their name or address raises both privacy and safety concerns. Then there's the city's rules that speakers cannot address individual council members directly. Sanders says that's also problematic, telling me that if a council member represents your district, you have a First Amendment right to speak to them directly in a public forum. And what about profanity?
There are very few types of speech that aren't protected by the First Amendment. In fact, even hate speech is protected by the First Amendment. And the idea behind that is we don't want the government to be drawing lines in the sand about what speech is going to be acceptable and what speech is not going to be acceptable.
Amy Sanders says the best thing neighbors can do is know their rights, and points to the Texas Attorney General's office's website as a great starting point. Reporting from City Hall, I'm Adam Beam for Chris 6 News.
And if you're going to be attending these city council meetings and making public comments, you need to be doing your homework before you start making your public comments to the city. Know what the people are talking about, and if you do, you will be able to handle things smoothly. And even then, you will be able to say whatever you want. Just all you gotta do is simply say your first and last name, the city where you're from, and then you can say whatever you want. In the case of the Aransas Pass guy, if he had just said his first and last name and said whatever he want, he would have gotten his 3 minutes, and boom, he would have left. I mean, he may not be a constitutional expert, but if you watch this story, he may have some common sense put in place. So here's the common sense for everybody that's going to these meetings, even those people that got kicked out. When they tell you to do something, do it. Do not use profanity. Don't be calling our mayor a bitch. You got no right to use that word. You may call a female dog a bitch, but you got no right to call a female or even our mayor a bitch. Even if you do. It's like I said this. I've said this many times to Alyssa Lamb, and I've said this many times here. I'm not a racist. I would never call any, I got a lot of friends who are females. I show women respect. And I would never, ever call them a bitch. I have a mother, and I would never call her names. It's derogatory and very disrespectful. I got friends that are African Americans. I don't call them the N-word. Never. I would never do that. If I did, and bear with me here, y'all, if I, as a white person, came up to an African American and said nigger or nigga, they'd beat the crap out of me. They would beat the crap out of me if I said that, which I will never, ever use. You think it's clever to disrespect women by calling them a bitch? If you call a woman a bitch, you're disrespecting all women. That's the line you cross by calling our mayor a bitch and a woman. So sir, to your Aransas Pass guy, you can sit your ass down and think about what you've done, you bitch. Yeah, I called out that Aransas Pass guy. He's thinking about what he did. Up next, Sam Donaldson on the military, and this time, it may be about same sex. Stay with us. If you served in the military, if you served in the military while you were gay, a lesbian, or homosexual, this story might be for you. It's about the ban. It's about the military banning homosexuals and gays, which is not the story. This is a story about how people feel about banning gays and homosexuals from joining the military. Think about this. Imagine you're sitting at a bar and you overhear someone talking about the ban on gays and homosexuals. You listen in, you give your 2 cents, and people may agree with you and people may not agree with what you had to say. Because you didn't serve in the military. But if you had to give out your 2 cents about the issue, it would be from this report which we're about to show you. Tonight, we're going to show some examples of homosexuals and gays in the military, and then we'll ask the question: Can a military or a branch of government ever ban homosexuals from joining the military when everyone should be treated equally? Here's Sam Donaldson.
There is a country where citizens still fear a knock on the door in the middle of the night. A place where people are ordered to denounce their friends and threatened with prison if they don't confess. This country is the United States. And the subjects under attack are people who have chosen to serve their nation. They are homosexuals in the military, and the hunt for them is leaving a trail of broken careers and damaged lives.
We were all ripped out of the closet.
All my freedom was taken away from me just for being gay.
Drag you from your house. Slap you around.
In the 1980s, while many institutions were becoming more tolerant of homosexuality, the military was actually moving in the opposite direction. This government report reveals that a record 17,000 gays and lesbians were hunted down and kicked out between 1980 and 1990. And the zeal with which the military often conducts the search is to some reminiscent of the communist witch hunting days of the 1950s.
And so quintessentially, entirely against everything this country is supposed to stand for.
Randy Schultz has just completed 5 years' research for his book, Conduct Unbecoming, on the treatment of gays and lesbians in the military. In conducting nearly 1,100 interviews, he found the military all too willing to use questionable tactics to root out gays.
Now, a lot of times these are just kids. These are 19, 20-year-old kids. The agency will take the kids into a small room, lock the door, and then tell them that they'll go to prison if they don't confess to being gay and if they don't turn in other people.
They put me in a 6x4 cell.
Steve Ward was an 18-year-old based at Chanute Air Force Base, Illinois, when the Air Force decided to interrogate him on suspicion of being gay. He and several other servicemen and women agreed to share their stories with us.
27 hours in this room. They come back and pull me out. I already urine was on the floor where I didn't have no place to go. I had to do it all that. It was just nasty.
Well, how long did this confinement go on?
Week and a half.
The interrogators suspected that Ward was gay, but they needed evidence, so they used a tactic widely employed in such cases. They simply held him until he confessed.
I'm gay, let me out. I don't know nothing. They wanted me to name names. I didn't know no names.
Steve Ward was given a dishonorable discharge. By confessing to being gay, he admitted to violating Department of Defense Directive 1332-14, which disqualifies persons who engage in homosexual conduct or who, by their statement, demonstrate a propensity to engage in homosexual conduct. But the man who drew up that directive now says it was never meant to be used the way the military has used it.
I never intended to include private conduct. I assumed that what people did in their own private lives was not a matter for the military.
Dr. Lawrence Korb was Ronald Reagan's Assistant Secretary of Defense for Manpower in 1982.
I never thought that on the basis of that directive, people would actually step up efforts to get gays and lesbians out of the military.
It's treated by the investigative agencies like these people are the worst kind of criminals, and they use the investigative tactics that are used for the worst kind of criminals to find gays.
The agencies are the Criminal Investigation Command for the Army, the Naval Investigative Service for the Navy and Marine Corps, and the Office of Special Investigations for the Air Force. Better known by their initials, The CID, NIS, and OSI are known to employ similar tactics to flush out homosexuals. This man was a photographer for the CID, on the trail of two suspected lesbians.
The agents had the window sills with microphones. They had recorders. There are also human ears at the door, as well as the electronic ears. We just needed the right sounds.
When they heard sounds of sex, they broke open the door. He showed us how he then jumped in, shooting.
Well, they were scrambling for the covers. They were trying to cover up. Everybody's moving into bed real fast, trying to get under the covers. Military police was pulling the sheets off of them.
The photos ended 2 careers in the Army and left this military photographer feeling guilty.
It's just a hard and a bitter pill to swallow to see American citizens treated as if they were Jews in Germany during the war. That's exactly the tactics that were being used.
But surprise photography was nothing new for the Army.
We were in bed when I heard something at the door.
Captain Jerry Rosenbaum was a decorated veteran of the Vietnam War, stationed in Munich, when the CID broke down his door to catch him in bed with another man, a Czech national. But Rosenbaum was too quick for the camera.
And I hear one of them say, "God damn it, we want to catch him in bed. We'll grab him and put him in bed so we can take the picture."
The surveillance had failed, but the CID agents were ready with another tactic.
They told me that I was being arrested for being a KGB spy.
What was their evidence?
They told me that they had pictures of me in bed, wiretaps, that I had been working with an agent from the Soviet intelligence community who was my handler.
Did they have evidence like that?
Well, I knew they didn't because I wasn't.
Still, Jerry Rosenbaum was forced out of the Army. Probably the most common questionable tactic of all has been in use for decades, and was used on this man 23 years ago.
They were throwing at me $20,000 fine and life imprisonment at hard labor.
Rick McGuire was a 20-year-old airman posted here at Westover Air Force Base near Springfield, Massachusetts in 1970. He was caught in possession of male art magazines and handed over to the OSI.
And they pointed out that my parents would probably have to mortgage the house, sell the house to cover my fine for their queer son, and I would be locked up for life.
The Air Force never made good on its threat, but McGuire was given a dishonorable discharge and was so traumatized by his interrogations that he blocked out all memory of the experience for 20 years.
And now it's come back. Frighteningly, my God. In the middle of the day, I'll be hit with a memory of smell. Even remember.
Today, he returns to the now abandoned OSI office to exorcise the demons that haunt him.
Now go right again. Smells the same.
A padded interrogation cell. He also remembered being held in a dungeon below this basement. But where he remembered a door leading down, he found a wall. And behind the wall, nothing.
How do you feel about what happened to you?
Oh, man. They turned me into a vegetable. I haven't been right for these 20 years.
We tracked down one of McGuire's interrogators, who's now living outside Syracuse, New York.
I want to see if he's arrogant or if he's remorseful. They had no right to do this.
The agent doesn't remember McGuire at all, but he does remember investigating a lot of homosexual cases on flimsy allegations.
Oh, a lot of them are flimsy. But I mean, if there was an allegation made, somebody went and investigated. People were scared of gays, and there was some kind of a plot, and they were open to blackmail because they weren't open about their behavior. I mean, those are the things that I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what you were taught.
Those people working in that system were duped. They were duped by ignorance. I was duped by that same ignorance.
Karen Gautney was a special agent for the Naval Investigating Service for 5 years during the 1980s. Regional Agent of the Year for 1985. She resigned, ironically, after coming to terms with her own homosexuality. But she remembers being taught a doctrine of discrimination, beginning with her first job interview.
In that interview, the interviewers, who are themselves agents, made a big issue out of homosexuality, asking me what my experience had been, what my thoughts were, if I had a problem investigating gay people.
Did they ask you whether you had a problem investigating thieves?
No.
Or a problem investigating rapists?
No.
But they did ask you whether you had a problem investigating gays.
That's right.
What was their attitude toward gays?
That gay people are a high security risk.
But the military had known for a long time that that was a highly questionable assumption, since it commissioned this report in 1957, and in 1988, another report, both telling the Pentagon that as a group, homosexuals are not a security risk. And yet Karen Gautney and her fellow agents plowed ahead, using an archaic sodomy law that makes a crime of anal or oral sex, a law virtually ignored in the rest of American society, but used in the military against gays.
Of course, sodomy could be practiced by heterosexuals.
Mhm.
And were those cases investigated?
I have no knowledge of any case of heterosexual sodomy ever being investigated.
So the crime wasn't sodomy.
The crime was being gay.
And in the late 1980s, one of the worst places to be gay, or even to associate with gays, was here at the Marine Corps Recruit Training Center on Parris Island, South Carolina.
Hey, put it back together right now.
Because the Naval Investigative Service believed a group of lesbians calling themselves the Family was disrupting good order and discipline. Among the suspicions, that lesbian drill instructors were using their positions of authority to take sexual advantage of young recruits. The NIS had a massive investigation on its hands.
I was a friend of a woman who was who's being investigated as being a homosexual.
Terry Knox was a Navy petty officer and a young mother when she was spotted giving a hug to a suspected lesbian here in a supermarket parking lot some 6 miles off base.
They refused me a lawyer on several occasions. They threatened to take my daughter away from me and put me in Leavenworth if I didn't tell them what they wanted to know.
A judge ruled that Terry Knox had been coerced to confess. She was cleared, but denied reenlistment. Marine Corporal Barbara Baum was not so lucky. With a rating of 4.9, she was about as close to a perfect 5-0 Marine as one could be. And she had a letter of commendation, plus an award of merit to prove it. But she also had a secret, and the NIS got the details in her lover's confession. Barbara Baum and a woman friend who was also in the military spent the night together in this motel here in Beaufort, some 6 miles from Parris Island. Now, some would say that what may have gone on sexually behind closed doors between consenting adults was no one else's business. But that is not what the military says.
I was charged with sodomy, conspiracy to obstructing justice, and indecent acts with women.
And what did the prosecutor ask for in the way of a punishment?
In all, they were asking for 38 years
38 years?
for being gay.
Prosecutor Dave Beck believed that Barbara Baum was a key member of the family, and that she had obstructed justice by trying to influence her lover to deny what happened in the motel room.
Do you really think that for an act of sodomy and for what you say was obstruction of justice, she should be sent to prison for 38 years?
As a trial counsel, I don't make the determination.
But you made the request.
Part of the sentencing philosophy is general deterrence. Part of it is specific deterrence. You punish somebody who is convicted of a crime for their offense. Part of it is general deterrence.
General deterrence of 38 years, Mr. Beck?
If that's what it was.
Who were you deterring?
Well, the whole group, the family group.
I question it because were you not the trial counsel, the chief trial counsel who prosecuted Sergeant Clayton Lonetree?
I was.
He was convicted of treason in connection with our embassy in Moscow. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And he got 30 years.
That's correct.
Well, how could that sentence of 30 years for a convicted treasonous person be equated with homosexuality and obstruction of justice and ask for 38 years?
I'd have to go look at the transcript in the Lonetree trial, and perhaps you have. I don't know.
Barbara Baum did not get 38 years, but the judge did send her to the military prison in Quantico, Virginia, for 1 year.
When I first walked into Quantico, the clanking of the jail cells just closing and knowing I'm here for a year, it was so hard to deal with.
So you gave them names?
Yes,
Real names?
yes, and I feel very badly for what I did to everybody.
In all, 3 Marines went to prison. 18 others were discharged, and at least a dozen more resigned quietly during the Parris Island Purge. We wanted to ask then Marine Corps Commandant General Alfred Gray if he ordered the purge at Parris Island upon seeing that report. He didn't return our call, but we caught up with him at Washington National Airport. Naturally, when you have these kind of allegations or these kind of reports, well, you have to take action and look into it, and we did.
Are you familiar with the tactics that some of the Navy investigators used down there to try to get to the truth of this?
No. I mean, what it refers to, as far as I was concerned, there weren't any tactics per se.
Well, we have allegations that the investigators threatened one woman, said, "You'll never see your child again if you don't confess."
There was always some of those kind of ideas and allegations, but I...
You don't believe it?
What, that we would authorize or sponsor witch huts?
Yes.
No.
You didn't do it?
No, of course not. We don't operate that way.
These people disagree, saying they are living proof that the military hunts down homosexuals.
One poor sucker doesn't have to go through the incredible loneliness, the degradation, self-hate, fear of, if that can be ended, that would have been worth it.
We asked the 3 military investigative services involved about all this. All denied that they aggressively go after homosexuals or that they employ the tactics that we have seen described tonight. For instance, the director of the Naval Investigative Service, which handled the Paris Island cases, told us his organization does not violate servicemen's rights and does not initiate investigations without any indication of criminal activity. But apparently Secretary of Defense Aspen feels some changes may be required. The statement to us from his office says, "The process currently underway to end discrimination against homosexuals in the military based on status will deal specifically with investigative policy concerning homosexual conduct." By the way, we want to thank the National Security News Service, the public interest group here in Washington, for their help on this story.
There's a lot I want to say here, but, you know, we're going to take a break, and I'll have a lot to say when we come back. Welcome back. You know, let me get my... I gotta say, you know, if this was a talk show, and we did it from Grace Community Church, which I had to ask Joe Kramer to be, which I had to, you know, if we did it, if I did Give Me a Break from if we did Give Me a Break North Padre Island, you know, we would do it someplace at a church where someone would be probably okay with it when we doing the show, and then we'd be doing issues of homosexuality or whatever issue may be on the mind, and it'd be like, what's your view about homosexuality? I'd just be acting like Jerry Springer like this. But, you know, my take on this is just, you know, you have every right. If you're white, black, Asian, you can serve in the military. If you're gay or homosexual or lesbian, you can serve in the military. Everyone's going to be treated equally. Everyone should have the same rights. Even special needs people. Like, what are we going to do next? Not allow special needs people to join the military? Make it a rule show? Absolutely not. Lawsuits could be filed, and the ADA would get involved in this. The Americans with Disabilities Act would get involved, and even then, you know, not even one person will look at this and say, hey, you know, this is what you did, you need to make some changes. We don't know if changes were made, but if changes were made, I would let you all know in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, we would let y'all know. But for now, the only thing we can rely on is, you know, common sense and just realizing that, look, things happen for a reason because everyone's a fucking dumbass. You don't have to be a dumbass just to know the rules. You know, you got to look at procedures, not just the rules, but look at all the procedures and say, okay, this is what is being told. This is what I need to do. And if I don't do this right, I'm gonna get yelled at. Excuse me. And if I get yelled at, if I ever get screamed at, then it's my own fault, and I gotta find a way to make this right. So therefore, what you need to do is say to yourself, hey, You know, I made a mistake. Here's the thing, though. When you make a mistake, you have to own up to it and say to yourself, how can I make this right? And if you find a way to make it right, you too can make up for it. If you make a mistake, you own up to it. Everybody makes mistakes. Kids make mistakes. It's not the end of the world. If you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. You can fix it. If you make a mistake, you can fix it. You can make it right. We are all human. We are all human, and we can be able to fix what we can fix. It's not the end of the world. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. How can we resolve the water issue that's going on? You know, the state gives every city some money, and then they squander it. Now, squander is another word for waste. So what the city is doing is just squandering money and trying to find ways. Even city council members are saying in their statements, we're trying our best. Well, take a look at this. I got nothing to say. Take a look.
For years, water has taken the spotlight in many conversations for the city of Corpus Christi, and this week that spotlight intensified.
What Corpus Christi leaders have to do is make a decision. We can only give them a little time more before the state of Texas has to take over.
Governor Greg Abbott calling on city leaders to take action in securing a reliable water supply for their residents. Corpus Christi leaders responded, some even firing back. The mayor saying an emergency meeting will be called soon to move desal forward. In the meantime, the local state delegation met to discuss what they can do to help. Names you'll recognize:
myself, Chairman Todd Hunter, Senator Chuy Hinojosa, and Senator Adam Hinojosa.
Representative Denise Villalobos says the delegation plans to prioritize two key items.
The biggest item, I think, is the LNRA, the Lavaca Navidad River Authority. Right now, they're nearing their first curtailment period, 10% coming, I believe it's on April 20th.
Why that's important? The Lavaca Navidad River Authority, or LNRA, manages Lake Texana. LNRA officials project that levels could drop below 50% next month. In that event, the amount of water Corpus Christi and other water customers receive would be curtailed by 10%. That's about 4 million gallons per day. That curtailment that could begin next month.
Seeing if there's any communication we can do or to help elevate to push that back, or to maybe exempt Corpus Christi due to the situation that we're in.
Villalobos saying another item they plan to prioritize are permits with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality.
The city had made a request out to us concerning the eastern and western well fields.
Corpus Christi Council member Mark Scott saying he appreciates the state's support.
We're pursuing the current projects. We need help from the state, and help articulate that request of the governor and the other state offices. We need help with our western wells permits, a bed and banks permit. We filed the permit.
Describing the water crisis as an all-hands-on-deck situation.
We need that approved. As soon as we can get that approved, we can put more water in the river, which we all want.
And of course, weather remains a critical piece of this story.
Absolutely, Natalia. You know, every Thursday we do get an updated look at
watershed.
I mean, I don't even need Carly Smith to talk about this. Just look at the Reds. San Antonio, extreme drought. Even Corpus Christi, we're in a severe drought right now. Uvalde's over here. All this is red. I don't even need Carly Smith to tell us about it. Even if I did, I wouldn't even have her come on this broadcast every Thursday. All we need is common sense. Believe me, if I wanted Carly Smith to come on, I had to ask Lexus Green to come on, have her come on the broadcast. I mean, I would even have Lexus Green special guest co-anchor with me, with Carly Smith. Or, you know what? I would have Liz Lamb be my camera woman. And then Lexus Green come in, and then Carly Smith coming in and talk about the drought monitor on Thursdays. So the bottom line is we need more water. Take another break. Back in a moment. Coming soon in the broadcast, we're going to do something very special. It's going to be caught on tape. I'm going to ask some people. I'm going to ask a very special guest to come in and help me co-anchor this one. And it's going to be something like this. Wild Fights caught on tape with special guest Alexis Green. If she's okay with it, come and doing a show with me one day. Because she's off every Wednesday. But if she's not okay, I'll find someone else. Depending on one of the two. So let's come up soon. If I can talk to her, I'll let you know what happens. Meantime, it's all Vision Game Break Sunday going to Monday. I'll see you on Friday or Saturday. Stop bullying, speak up, concentration, not strength. No jaywalking. Take care of yourself and each other. Now and always, I'm here for you. Bye-bye.